Hey folks, Brendan from Blue Light here, and for those of you who haven't seen any of these videos before over the past several years, I've been helping to support people into their dream career in the police service. Something I'm really proud of and pleased about. A good 3,000 plus people are now in the police service as a result of my support. So what's this video about today? Well, this video is going to help those of you who are applying to the Metropolitan Police with the new Day 1 Assessment Centre. Now this will soon be rolled out right across the country, but at this moment in time it's still being piloted by the Met Police. Now as it's being piloted, I'm hearing jibs and jabs of information from mostly the positive action workshops that the Met Police run. So they do like to share information about what the various role plays will entail. I'll never ask any of my clients what happened at the assessment centre because it would be unethical to do so, because at the end of the assessment centre you sign a confidentiality agreement. So one of the role plays, there's now 2 role plays by the way, and one of the role plays you deal with 2 people and the other role play you deal with 1 person. Now for those of you who are my clients, please go to the Facebook client only group where there is a 6-part very detailed set of videos on how to deal with the 2 role player scenario. But for this video, I'm going to give you a little introduction as to the sort of things that we cover in dealing with the single person role play, because I do believe it's got a very different dynamic to it. My understanding is that you're going to be dealing with someone who's vulnerable or is having a mental health crisis type issue. And they're going to need approaching in quite a different way, but we're still going to utilise CUDSAR. Now, CUDSAR is a non-contact conflict management model which I've adapted from the police service to meet the needs of the assessment process, especially when dealing with role players. So the C stands for confront, the U stands for understand, the D stands for define and summarise, S for solutions, and then the AR is the assess and monitor and what your vision of the final result will be. So if we're going to approach someone who's very vulnerable or is having some kind of crisis, the one thing we don't want to do is go right up towards them and start using words like calm down, you need to, don't worry, because as soon as you say something like that to someone who's having a crisis, in my experience, it's like lighting the touch paper. Saying calm down to someone who's not feeling very calm often has the very opposite effect. So we're going to avoid all of those words that you often see on the television, on those sort of fly-on-the-wall police things. The amount of times I see an officer rolling around on the ground with a suspect, trying to arrest them and screaming at them to calm down. And what does the other person do? Exactly the opposite. Could have predicted it. So there's some things that some police officers still don't learn. Telling someone to calm down invariably will have exactly the opposite effect. So we're not going to do that. We're going to keep a bit of an open space away from them. If the room's big enough, I'd recommend sort of 4 or 5 feet. We're going to have nice open body language, so you see my hands are open like this, and we're going to be express ourselves using this open-handed movement all the time, timed with everything that we say, and it's all going to be very calming. We're going to use a tone of voice that's very calming. And as you approach the individual, you're going to introduce yourself, and something as simple as, good morning, my name's Brendan, I'm a police officer, and I'm here to help you. And just see what they say. Give them a little bit of silence and don't approach them. Not just yet. You've got 10 minutes to deal with this role play. Plenty of time. They're going to be distracted. They're not going to take any notice of you, or they'll tell you to fuck off or something like that, because I do believe these role plays are a little bit more realistic, and that's the sort of thing that will happen in real life. So we want to reiterate again who we are. My name is Brendan. I'm a police officer. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you. You can feel safe with me. I'm here to help you. And you might again say, I'm sick of something, fuck off, why don't you just do one, leave me alone. And at this point we can start reflecting back that we understand what they're saying. Now, we don't want to say that they're angry, we don't want to say that they're frustrated, because that's putting a label on their emotions. What we want to do is describe that you are hearing that there's some emotion by saying something like, I can hear there's some emotion in your voice, and I'm here to help. I'm here to help try and find some way out of this for you, or try to make you feel better, or to try and find some kind of solution for whatever it is that you're going through at this moment in time. Don't say that you understand what they're going through, because you don't. The amount of times I've said that, and the amount of times I've heard other police officers say that, in reality, it just doesn't work. I've heard it said so many times, and I can almost predict what someone's going to say. They're going to say, you can't understand. No one can understand. And they're right, actually, because no one can understand the situation that they're in. Only they can understand it. But what you've got to do now is to try and tease out from them the sort of key lines that that actor or actress will have to allow you to find some solutions for this particular role play. And remember, they're testing you against all sorts of different competencies here. Don't just think it's one or two competencies. So don't even start to try and work out what they're testing you against. Just believe me when I tell you that the structure I'm going to show you is going to absolutely amaze the assessors. They will be absolutely blown away, either believing that you're some kind of super experienced police officer dealing with mental health vulnerability, or that you actually work in that environment as a mental health or some person who works in an environment where vulnerability is your daily bread and butter. Anyway, back to the role play. So we want to find out what it is that's upsetting that individual. Just simply coming out with, so what's happened? It isn't enough. You need to ease your way into this. So I'd recommend and suggest that you use words like, I'm just wondering if you can perhaps share with me a little bit about what's upsetting you at this moment in time, in your own time and in your own words. Just phrases like that, nice soft phrases. And at this point as well, you might want to start looking to sit down next to them. So you're maintaining eye-to-eye level contact, not too close. But don't just go and do that. Always tell people who are having some kind of crisis or vulnerability what you're going to do next, so it's not a surprise. Actually, always tell people who you arrest and people who you deal with what is it you're going to do next, so it doesn't come as a surprise. So what I'll be doing here is I'll be saying something like, instead of just saying, I'm going to come and sit next to you, or is it okay if I'm going to come and sit next to you? You give them the opportunity then to say, no, it's not okay. Fuck off. I told you to fuck off. So we're not going to fall into that trap. What we're going to use is nice little softeners again. Things like, so I'm just wondering if it'd be okay if I came and sat close to you, so I can hear better what you've got to tell me. Or some people find it more comfortable if they can talk to someone who's just next to them as opposed to this distance that's between us at this moment in time. And these are very vague phrases, things like some people, or I'm just wondering, or things like that. They're very vague phrases, but you'll find the likes of Paul McKenna and Darren Brown, the stage hypnotist, we use these sort of language all the time. And it works. You know, what you're doing is you're providing people with a sort of vague statement that they can latch onto. And then you're putting a bit of an instruction into it. So I'm just wondering if I can sit down next to you. And so what you're telling them is that you're going to sit down next to them. But it's in a way it's very soft, it's very easy for them to understand. Bearing in mind that they're a role player and you've just got a set of lines, but they're going to react again by telling you to do one, fuck off, or something like that. If they're doing something, show an interest in whatever it is they're doing. So if they're fiddling with something, show an interest in it. If they're drawing something, show an interest in it. So it looks like you really enjoy drawing and that you're doing something now that's artistic. I'm just wondering if you can share what you're doing with me. It looks really interesting. Again, I'm just wondering, it looks really interesting, and words like that always help. So this is the basis of our introduction, folks. The next stage is where we're going to start looking at, oh, sorry, the doggy's going to have to make a guest appearance in case you're hearing what the jangling was. Sorry, there she is. There's the pooch. She always gets in the way of some of my videos sometimes. Anyway, the next stage is the understanding phase. And this is where we're going to ask a nice big open question. And you're going to put some little softness in front of it by saying things like, you know, I can't understand for one moment what it must be like to be in your situation, but I'd like to understand. And the way that a lot of people find useful to do that, to share that understanding, is to allow the other person to ask some questions. So is it okay if I ask you some questions about what it is that's upsetting you? And then hopefully I'll be able to find some way of helping you, making you feel safer, of supporting you. Lots of words like that. Now, these aren't going to flow naturally for a lot of people, so you're just going to have to practice them and practice them and practice them and practice them. And then we'll follow that with whatever they say, we're just going to follow it anyway with. So please can you explain to me exactly what has happened today to make you feel like you're feeling at this moment in time? Question like that. And then we're going to go into some really well-crafted open questions which are going to help you get to the bottom of whatever the problem is. From there we can move into some solutions once we've defined and summarised what it is. And from there we can indicate how we're going to enable them to get further support from you on a regular basis or from a partner agency. But more of that for my clients. So this is a bit of a naughty sneak preview really, because my clients are going to get all of that sort of really in-depth good stuff. If you'd like to become one of my clients and find out exactly how to nail one of these role plays and also to nail every part of the police recruitment process, then there's a link below to the various courses that I offer. And also there's a link below for you to join over 5,300 members of my Facebook Police Recruitment Support Group. It's a closed group at this moment in time, so it means that you can only see what's going on if you are a member. So if you click on the link and just ask to join, invariably you will be approved. We do watch out for things like people who've got far too many groups, show no interest whatsoever in the police, or people who may have some radical ideas. We've had some one or two individuals who slipped through the net, try to spread some radical thoughts. We've got some fantastic moderators and admin, and they've deleted their posts and blocked the users. So it's a very well managed group, and it's I'm very pleased with the way it's going. So please do ask to join that group. So it's goodbye from me. If you've got any ideas about things that I can do videos on, please do let me know. It's goodbye from Summer, the pooch. Summer, look at the video. Okay, you just want to lick me, don't you? There you go. Sorry about the guest appearance, but she's making a lot of jingly jangly noise and then jumped on my lap. So I shall speak to you soon, folks. Bye-bye from Rose. Bye-bye.